What's up, stars? This your girl RxTalk with this week's Ratchet Astrology Reports. It is about 1 o'clock in the morning. I've done all my little nightly routines and rituals, but I had to go ahead and get this video out the way so you guys will be ready for this solar eclipse, this new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, nicknamed by the astrologers the Ring of Fire, okay? And I know y'all been trying to get through this retrograde, so we're going to talk about that because it's been crazy for me. It's been real retrograding around here. So we're going to get right into it because it's late and I'm ready all night. So, let's get into it. Let's find my notes. There we go. So, now we've been talking about all this shadow work and inner child work and, you know, just really trying to break free from things that have limited us in the past, you know, beliefs that were placed upon us, and really just finding your true voice, finding your core self. So all of these retrogrades going on at once, and you can go see what they are, because I'm mainly going to focus on Mercury retrograde in this video, but there is a Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, and there is a Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And all of this is just to mold and, you know, shape you, not reshape, but, you know, chisel off all of the things that you have picked up along the way so you can get back to your core self and you can really see your inner child, how you saw yourself in the future when you were a child, and, you know, in all this beauty and glory, really get to that. And that's why we've been doing our shadow work and getting in touch with our inner child for that very reason, because we're just trying to become who we are. So, you know, we find our purpose in the world and we begin to attract the things that we need to sustain this world that we want to create, this dream that we want to create. So we will be able to attract the things that we need to do so. So, let's talk about Mercury retrograde a little bit. It's a few placements I'm going to touch on, and it's only because I want to help get you through this molding process, because chiseling hurts. Healing hurts. Growth hurts. It all, you know, there's a pain before the relief. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like popping a pimple or something, like how it hurt really bad when you squeeze it, but then when you finally get all that nasty pus out, it's like, oh my God, it's like I just got a piece of myself back. So that's the same thing that's going on here. So, you know, if you're going through some pain, you're going through a process where, you know, people are being stripped away from you, because, you know, the whole purpose of all of this is to let go in this collective that's, you know, aligning itself with what's going on now in these realms. The whole purpose is letting go of things that do not serve you. So when you keep putting that out into the atmosphere, you keep putting that out into the universe, things that do not serve you are going to be stripped away. And a lot of those things you didn't even realize weren't serving you anymore. A lot of these people that you have held on to, you didn't even realize that they really not serving you any type of purpose. And it's okay to let them go, because sometimes when we hold on to people, we stop them from finding their purpose because we're holding on, because, you know, a major thing based around these placements is also our need for codependency. So some of us need to be practicing isolation and meditation. You know what I'm saying? You've been surrounded by too many people, too many energies for entirely too long, and you have not disconnected yet, and you have not separated yourself. So let's get into these placements. So we got Mercury retrograde, and you know what goes on with retrograde, the travel issues, communication issues, internet. And when we talk about communication issues, I don't mean just calls dropping. I mean like not being heard or not being properly heard. Arguments being started over, you know, misunderstanding of how words and stuff are being heard to the other person. Because the way you might have said it, it may have came off to me in a different way. And that's not how you meant it. And that happens a lot during this time too. And it's really strong, this retrograde, because it's in Gemini. And, you know, Mercury rules Gemini, and Mercury is what I said, the planet of travel, communication, and, you know, how we kind of, you know, communicate with other human beings here on planet Earth. Okay. So This retrograde has linked with Venus, so we have this heart versus mind issue going on. And you have to be careful with confusion as well when you're during this retrograde, because you have to remember that a lot of things are being turned backwards, and you're having things from past retrogrades being recalled to your memory, so it can make things kind of cloudy and confusing, like, wait, was I supposed to do that? Do I still want to do that? So right now you have an issue when it's linking with Venus, that, the planet of beauty, love, and pleasure. We have this heart versus mind. Venus is telling you to follow your heart, where Mercury is always constantly trying to appeal to the mind, appeal to your intellect, you know what I'm saying? Appeal to your logic, not really have your emotions and your thoughts involved. But the best thing to do right now when you're feeling cloudy is just to stay organized during retrograde. Just if you can't find anything to do, it's like you walking in circles, you don't know what to do with yourself. Just start cleaning and organizing and throwing things away, so when your mind and your clarity comes back and it's a little bit clearer for you, you'll be ready for the next step. Because when in all that busyness, and this happens with busy people, like, don't feel bad that if you get a little off track with keeping up with your stuff, or trying to stay organized during this time, because a lot of things have been recalled back to you, and it might be disruptive to what you have going on right now. So it's easy for you to start lacking in certain areas, especially like organization, but you don't want to do that. When you come out of this retrograde, you want to make sure that you're organized, so when you do get on track and you have made the decisions on what do you want to manifest and what things are, because we're not putting things on the back burner anymore. They're going to keep coming back during retrograde, and you already have things that you have to deal with through retrograde that you cannot control. So what we can control is the things that we choose to put on the back burner. No more putting it on the back burner. Either you're going to do it, or you're going to just throw it away or give it away. We have to start practicing that too. Sometimes we get so caught up in ourselves that we overlook talents and stuff that other people might be good at, that you might have caught them doing before, but because it's something that you're doing, you took it as a way to upgrade your craft. But if you're a person who's busy and you're juggling all these different things, it's okay to let something go. It's okay. It's all right. Because if you've accomplished at least one purpose in your life, because a lot of people have multiple purposes. A lot of people are just born to live, do that one thing, and then die. And then there's a lot of people who constantly transform and evolve because they have multiple purposes or multiple people that they are supposed to reach and connect to. You know what I'm saying? When you choose paths of healing and leadership, or doctors, therapists, or root workers, or whatever spectrum or side that you want to be on, you have people that are going to be connected to you according to your calling and your purpose of what it is that you're supposed to do. So right now, with Venus being linked to this retrograde, and retrograde calling things back, Venus is like, it's kind of telling you to just follow your heart. So Venus is in Cancer right now. So with this placement, Cancer is all about the nurturing. You always think, Mother Moon when you think Cancer, the mothering side of the moon when you think about Cancer, because there's also the crabby side, the side where, that's manipulative. The moon can be, deceiving at times. And, we're getting ready to go into a solar eclipse, and we're going to talk about that because we just came out of a lunar eclipse. So you're going to be focused on you're going to be a little bit more nurturing than this time. You're going to be real focused on the safety of your relationships. Like, where do we stand? If you're in a romantic relationship with someone, you might start asking, like, where do we stand? What's the next step? Or what's the next level do we move to? Where do we go from here? You start looking at that. You start looking at the safety of your other close friendships, like your friends, like, what we doing here? Are we building, or are we bullshitting? And that's kind of where you're at with your friends with this placement. And you're just tightening up the circle. You're closing up ranks, because Cancer, they're known for being homebodies. That's one of their traits, the common traits that comes up when you talk about Cancer. Like, they're the homebodies. They're real focused on building a home. So with Venus being in Cancer, Venus is the planet of beauty, love, and creativity. You are looking at your home in that aspect, especially if you are a creative. Now, creatives are going through some real change this time. This is your time to really level up and upgrade if you are a creative, because there's so much change going on. You should be able to find a muse or inspiration in all of the shit that's going on in the world right now. So this is people are with the world changing, and the people are constantly looking for something new to excite them. So this is a time for creatives to really, experiment and really dig into your art, your craft, and, really just go outside the lines and see what you can create. So we have Venus in Cancer, and that's basically, closing up ranks, tightening up your circle, and it's linking with this retrograde. So some people gonna come back into your life, and this is where you get to make the decision of whether you gonna stick with them or you gonna just let them go. You know what I'm saying? So this retrograde is probably bringing back a lot of people that maybe you didn't forget about, that you might have pushed to the back of your mind. Y'all didn't necessarily fall out. Maybe y'all just stopped talking, and this is your opportunity. Or you did fall out, but it was like, Black people, we don't know how to just end an argument. We just stop talking to each other, and then we just wait a bunch of years and come back around like everything okay, or till somebody die, and then we see each other, and then we try to reconcile because the guilt sets in. I don't want things to be messed up between us before one of us passes or something like that. But you never really get to the root issue. So use this retrograde and use Venus in Cancer to get to the root issue, close up ranks, tighten up. It's time to tighten up. You cannot go to the top, because we all know that's where you all want to go, right? You don't want to just be stuck at the bottom. All these things that we have been accustomed to, and all these things that we are seeing, and social media just opening up the world, like showing you that average everyday people can do this and can do that. So, a lot of you on the spiritual journey because you just want more. Anytime that, even if you don't want more, just being on a spiritual journey proves that you want more, because it's not always about materialism. It's not. It should be about spirituality first. It should be about, what am I rooted in? Why am I on this journey? Why am I following the path that I'm following? Because if you don't know, you're going to run yourself crazy. You're going to run the people around you away, because you have to be certain of what it is that you stand on. And, it's time to, you grow up. You grown, So, and if that's what you believe, and that's what you stand on, and that's what you believe, and that's what you stand on. So stand on that. So in order to help you to be able to stand on what it is that you mean, because Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is all about getting our power back for our inner child, so we can be the person that we want to be. So when we're coming through this transit, the next one I want to talk about is Mars in Leo. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Mars and Leo. So Mars, when you think Mars, always just kind of think like overly aggressive male energy. Sorry, I know it rules Aries. I know some really cool Aries women, but the energy is really kind of masculine. You understand what I'm saying when you think about Mars? And Mars is kind of like our action planet. And when you think about Leo, Leo is also kind of, because the sign of Leo is the sun, it's also kind of a masculine energy too. So when you pull these two energies together, you have kind of an aggressive energy, okay? But you can use that energy to either start drama because of the Leo part of it, wanting to be heard, wanting to make sure that, that their voice is heard, that in a situation, in an argument, that they are, people understand where they're coming from. And when you have that Mars, that action planet, that can make you jump to conclusions or jump too fast into, go 0 to 100 real quick, basically. So you have to really be careful with this energy, because this Pluto retrograde is already forcing you to have hard conversations, especially if you have any type of trauma from your childhood. And this is the place where we're dealing with it at. You know what I'm saying? We're dealing with it where you have this middle generation, you have this older generation, and we have the younger generation, and you can see where the culture clashes are beginning to happen, because hard conversations are also happening as well. So that's what's just gonna happen. It's gonna be blow-ups and stuff like that, but use it to your advantage, because if it has to be a blow-up, make sure it was worthy of the blow-up. Don't just be cussing and fighting. Make sure that you are heard, okay? Because if you're going to take it that far, then just go ahead and make sure that you heard. The energy is there for you to break free, but sometimes it's not always going to be cute. You understand? It's not always going to be like, oh, I'm going to go my way, you're going to go your way. Sometimes it's going to be a fight. Sometimes it's going to be a brawl. Sometimes the police are going to be called, okay? But if whatever you got to do to get your peace back, then that's what you just have to do, because that's what the retrograde is for. It's showing you areas, especially Saturn and Aquarius, is definitely showing you areas where your foundation might be broken at, where you might be broken at. So everything that you do or everything that you touch is going to become toxic because you haven't dealt with the problems before, and you're steady trying to add more problems by adding, you want more money, you want more material things, you want more attention, you want love, you want this. But have you dealt with the things that have went on inside of you? Have you did your shadow work and asked those hard questions? Have you mirrored yourself? All the accusations and the people that you fell out with. Did you make sure that you looked in the mirror and see that, the issue wasn't you? Okay, this is the bottom line. Were you the problem? Because sometimes we're the problem, because we're taking situations that's going on with other people personal like it's our situation, just because it might be something that we've been through. It don't work like that. So, with this Mars and Leo, just watch out for flare-ups and drama, okay? And watch out for aggression, especially like sexual aggression. Y'all have to pay attention to stuff like that, because, there's a balance of female and male energy. And I want y'all to be aware that sometimes these placements it's not going to always be, because look at the world. If it worked like all the time, just because we knew what was going on, that we could fix it, then we would, don't we? That's what we always try to do as humans, is try to fix something. We always trying to fix something or trying to destroy something. So even with the information that we have, it does not stop anything from happening. So when I'm telling you, even with this Mars and Leo, and I'm telling you this strong male energy linking up and all of these, the confusion of retrograde, it can cause some type of sexual aggression. So if you are in a relationship with someone and you are concerned, or you're going through something where, the relationship is not healthy, they want to hurt you during sex, or you feel like you are in an industry where you are susceptible to abuse, I'm just telling you to be aware even more during this time, and start thinking about what it is that you need to do to find your security, to be able to either protect yourself or get into a new industry or get away from the relationship that you're in, because it's going to be heightened over this weekend, especially with this solar eclipse getting ready to pass. And that is on a very serious note. You know what I'm saying? Because as people who try to help other people, you really sometimes you want to skip over the bad stuff. Like, oh, I don't want to tell them that. Like, they're going to be feeling some type of way. I don't want people to be paranoid. But sometimes I need you to be careful. I need you to be paranoid, because a lot of people are not there. You have to understand that this is not as big of a community of people who are aware of themselves as we think it is. Is because the people around us, just because they know about it does not mean that they're aware. And there's actually people who will seek to, prove you a fraud, prove you are wrong, because you remind them of someone who might have hurt them. You might have reminded them of something that they used to believe in that failed them. So anytime that we remind people of where they fail at, they will try to hurt you, hurt your feelings, hurt your business, hurt you, hurt your reputation. You know what I mean? So just watch out for the drama. All right, next. This one is specifically for the ladies. And also, just to go back to this Mars and Leo, and the only reason why I'm making much emphasis because it's such a strong male energy, so the males need to know. If you're starting to feel that type of aggression and stuff, build it up like a sexual aggression. Sometimes we don't teach our men to like really deal with things that they might have repressed, because it's not, we don't talk about men being abused or sexually abused, or being taught the wrong sexual practices. Is not always abuse, but like letting your son fuck a hooker at 14, that's a form of abuse. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrong sexual practice. You're teaching them unhealthy sexual practices, and you're starting a desire in them that might not, a fire that might not have been lit if you never would have tried to light it in the first place. We don't let people grow into their own sexual preference at a time, because most women are abused, so sex starts for them at an early age, and the confusion of it, and men are always forced into masculinity, like you gotta just start fucking as soon as possible or you're not gonna be considered the guy, the dude, you know what I'm saying, you the man. So just be careful. Men, it's all about finding healthy ways to release that aggression during this transit. Maybe getting back into some type of, practice that you might have let go. Like men should take advantage of this retrograde energy too, because we all have to grow together, and so this is a time for you to reflect mainly on, for male, I feel like during this time it's all about reflecting on the closing up ranks as well, and finding healthy ways to release aggression. And because we have this influx of people who just want to shoot people and we have to kind of curb that a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So it's just all about finding healthy ways to release the aggression and closing up ranks, because you don't aren't aware all the time of how much our friends and stuff that influence us, even when they're not around us. So that's something to think about. Lilith, which is the bad bitch planet, and she's not a planet though, I think it's an asteroid, but she is the bad bitch energy. She is where women find their divine feminine, and they also find their toxic self, your shadow self, which is Mars and Leo, and it's Venus in Cancer. Lilith linking up with the moon could possibly cause you some womanhood issues as well. Triggers, past hurts, getting rid of your toxic friends, okay? This is because the moon comes to expose, of course, and it's an eclipse. So we're exposing our Lilith. So, it's time for you to purge some of that stuff up. Like, some of y'all don't want to let go of being petty. Some of y'all don't want to let go of being catty. Some of y'all don't want to let go of the Regina George, mean girl, head bitch in charge attitude. You know what I'm saying? We can still be queens and work together. We don't have to do all of that. We don't have to stomp on each other. You know what I'm saying? There's a way to do that. And, vicariously sneak dissing each other on social media is not the way. If y'all want to get together, because I know a lot of female artists and rappers and singers and stuff, y'all have y'all own battle rap show or whatever the case may be. If it's a bunch of fashion directors, get together and have a fashion wars and have a fashion show and have judges, and do it in a healthy, competitive way where we can build and grow off of each other, instead of I'm gonna just have my thing on your same day so people come to mine and don't come to yours. That is petty, and we need to stop with the petty competition, because the community is not that big of Black business owners as it is, and our services are limited because our access to certain resources are limited. So a lot of us are doing some of the same things. If you are, readers and stuff like that, and, a part of the holistic community where we're doing holistic health and herbs and recipes, and really getting into the earthy side of things, or I don't really want to say witchcraft, because all of them are not practicing witchcraft, but the community of people who are coming together and getting grounded and getting in touch with nature. Okay, I'll say it like that. Getting in touch with nature, getting in touch with their spirituality in alternate ways outside of the religious spectrum. The things that happen with that, like, that should not happen, because it's supposed to be a spiritual community. It's the things that scared you away from the church. You're bringing them back you're trying to bring them into these practices where people are trying to build and create things. So this is something that we have going on under this Lilith being, connected, conjunct with the moon as well. So it's just highlighting some issues that we have as females, violations of girl codes, the whole acting like niggas, like it's supposed to be think like a man, act like a lady, the thinking like niggas, acting like niggas, So it's all about the healing of the female community. Lilith tying up with the moon And it makes me think about how me and my mom today watched the Monique talk about the bonding thing. Her and Tammy responds, and then Monique responds back. This is kind of what you see happening during these times, these placements, these transits. Look at how the moon is is linked with Lilith. And Lilith talks about, you know, the divine feminine, highlighting the divine feminine and our shadow selves, and the moon comes to highlight. So that's what's being highlighted. So, you know, women practices and things are being brought back up, their conversations, because it seems like they all come up at certain times. Well, that's because certain transits and things come up at certain times because there's a time and a place for it. And, you know, Monique felt it was her time and her place to speak out. And, you know, Tammy Roman responded and Monique responded back. I'm not going to touch on it because, you know, as a millennial, some things don't really matter to me. But at the same time, I know why we were taught certain things. So there's a culture clash going on. But on the female side, you know, past hurts, triggers, toxic females that you might have been raised by or are currently around, gossip, beliefs being pushed on you, or actual negativity happening. So there may be some girl on girl fallouts going on as well, because, you know, sometimes stuff got to fall apart for it to come back together. And you ask that all of this, everything that don't serve you be removed. So be ready. All right, so the woke planet, which is Uranus, that's how I say it, linked up with the Easter planet. And the reason why I call it the Easter planet, because Ceres, I think that's like, it's Ceres. It's like Venus, but it's not. It's like the planet of like womanhood and fertility. It kind of reminds you of the Empress in the tarot deck, okay? So they're going to join forces in Taurus and show where we are blocked at in our relationships. Like, are you blocked in your relationships? Like, it feel like you're repeating yourself over and over again. You stated your case over and over again of why you set a certain boundary, why you don't want to deal with certain shit, why, you know, you don't feel like you have to talk to this person and that person, and you still not fucking being heard. Well, you know, she's not the mother planet, but, you know, she's the mothering planet. Ceres is linking up with the woke planet. So all that is going to come to everybody's attention, because now we're getting to a point where you put so much energy into it that it cannot hide itself anymore. So sometimes that's why the blow-ups happen. I'm steady going back to these blow-ups because I'm telling you now that they're going to happen. Because the other party, or you might be the party that's not listening, or the other party has not been listening all this time, and then it's going to finally be in their face. They're not going to know how to handle it. So there may be a blow up behind it, because when people don't know how to deal with certain stuff and they try to escape it, but you come and you be the person to put it right in their face, and they can't run from it, and they can't hide from it, and they can't deny it because you got the receipts, you got the facts. I'm telling you right now, this is what happened, and this is how I'm dealing with it, and I'm just trying to get you to deal with it too so we can move past it. A lot of people are not ready for that. So, but, you know, this placement is going to come and show us where they blocked it in the relationships, and it's all about the approach. How are you approaching your goals? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, you have to be very careful what you say. So, you know, this series and this Uranus placement is also talking about how we manifest, like your language. How are you approaching it? It's all about how you come at it. So, for instance, instead of just trying to manifest like, oh, I want a big wedding, I want to get married, I want to meet the man of my dreams, how about you manifest a lasting union of unconditional love and, you know, get in touch with your soul about what you really want and what it is that you're supposed to be attracting? Because you can't think that, okay, so you believe that you attract money, and you believe that you attract good health, and you attract wealth, and you attract people that love you and attract attention and stuff like that, but you feel like you're supposed to go out and chase after the partner that you're supposed to have. It does not work like that. Everything has to go by the law of attraction and what you make it. I'm pretty sure, like, if you've lived long enough, things that you have said, you are watching them come to life right before your very eyes right now, if it hasn't happened before. And throughout your life, you don't really start paying attention until you get a little bit older to how your words really manifest things into your life, and how the seeds that you sow with your lips really grow and take root in your life. So getting in touch with your soul, get down to the reason why you really want what you want. Don't just ask for a lot of money. Ask for a sustaining income that will give you the power to reserve life, because that's what you really want. That's what I'm saying. And the reason how I came up with that is because I asked myself the same question. Do I really just want a lot of money? No, I've been observing and I've been watching what a lot of money can do if you don't have a plan for it, or you get it and you was not your time to really have it, but you forced it through the power of your own mind. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that's for you is for you, but we can't force things to happen prematurely with our power because of all the energy that we put into it. But I don't just want a lot of money. I want a sustaining income that's going to give me the power to preserve life, which means I'm going to be able to sustain, and then the generations behind me are going to be able to sustain. That's what I want. In the present and the future, and continue to preserve the history and knowledge of the past, like, because you don't want to destroy yourself on the pursuit of your desires and your dreams, to the point where the history and the past is destroyed because you're leaving things behind with every step that you're taking. You know, you're constantly making this move, constantly making that move, and you're leaving things here, leaving things there. When, you know, I got to the house that I'm living in now, and I'm gonna be honest and say, in the last 8-9 years, this is the longest this is probably the longest I've lived anywhere since I've been out of my mother's house. Because even when I moved out of my mother's house to go stay with my biological mother, she had the same problem, just moving all the time. So then when I became of age, I started out, you know, with my little project apartment, and then from there I started moving all the time. When I moved out of them projects, because it just didn't feel, you know, it just didn't feel safe. Stuff I got robbed while I was standing right outside my house. I'm on the back of my house, somebody going and stealing stuff out the front of my house. You know what I'm saying? And then my car got tore up out there. I'm like, I cannot do this. So then I ended up getting another little apartment downtown. And I was there for a while because, you know, at that point, when I, you know, looking out of the window of that little apartment, you know, looking over the downtown, which it ain't much, you know, it's not that big of a town. It's not much, but just to be able to see it from that view, I started, you know, wanting other things in life. But I felt like I was so out of order that I had to start in another place. And I felt like I had to start with family. Like, well, maybe if I start building a family, you know, that'll give me the motivation and courage that I need to be able to do things. But I was already a motivated and courageous person because I had made it this far on my own already. But I just didn't believe in myself at the time. So I felt like I needed to have a family to back me up and believe in me, because, you know, the women in my family are, you know, they are tough, okay? So they just didn't like the way I was, you know, they didn't like the way I was doing things. They didn't like the way I was handling stuff. And, you know, they just wasn't really dealing with me, and I wasn't really dealing with them because I had my own personal issues. Like, the reason why I can't listen to y'all is because y'all still ain't listen to me of what I've been trying to tell y'all for years. So when they were trying to help me and grow up and, you know, grow into womanhood, I couldn't hear them because I still hadn't dealt with what I needed to deal with, because I felt like I hadn't been heard about my pain and my trauma, so I would be able to grow. So everything that they said to me was blocked until somebody ready to talk about what I'm ready to talk about too. And then we can all move on together. So, you know, eventually I was able to have that conversation, and I'm a better person because of it. And I feel like the parties involved are as well. That's what we're trying to do. We want to preserve the history. I want to be able to, you know, let my kids know, like, look at my little bitty apartment that, look where we used to stay. Look at y'all little room. Like, y'all used to, you know what I'm saying? Preserve the history. I can give my children a lot of genealogy information. You know, I'm lucky that, you know, my family was able to preserve much of their genealogy on both sides. So they do have that. They know that they have a rich history, but I want them to be able to see the growth, because really it's off your parents. Okay. Your ancestors, we know how strong they are. Look at us sitting here, okay? Because it's 2020 and they got here when, and they held on to the little population of melanated people as long as they could, and we still here and we thriving. And I feel like even though, just like I'm talking about our personal lives, everything has to fall apart to get better. Collectively, it's the same way. And I see where it has fallen apart, and I see where it's trying to heal itself, and I'm still optimistic about that. So it's preserving the history of the past under this placement and making sure that, you know, you are being clear and concise about what it is you want. And I'm talking about this because this placement is showing you how to do it. It's helping you get to the root of what it is that you really want to birth out as a man or a woman. You want what it is that you want to give out, and making sure that you are using the right language and you're going about it the right way with the right attitude, because we are in new moon. It's a new moon. I like new moons. I like to manifest. I like to, you know, reflect and, you know, see what I'm getting better at, being able to say, you know what, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna let that project go. I'm gonna, you know, sell this to such and such and they can do it, or give this to this person so they can do it. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning how to delegate, and just realizing that just because you're good at a lot of stuff don't mean you have to do a lot of stuff. You don't have to do everything. The more focus that you put into one thing and making one thing grow, the stronger it will be, instead of giving little parts of yourself to 10, 15, 20 different things, people, places, ideas. Give yourself to a cause. And, you know, sometimes you get lucky and it's a multifaceted cause. Like if you give yourself to the cause of art and creativity, you got, you know, a lot of room to play around with what it is that you want to do. You give yourself to the art of spirituality, you got a lot of room with things that you want to research and learn. Give yourself room to grow. So, new moon, solar eclipse. So when the sun is linked with the moon, that is the strongest placement, because those are the planets that are most closest to us, that spend the most time with us. Okay, that's mommy and daddy. They spend the most time with us. They create our, you know, our identity and how we deal with things. And the new moon is all about intention setting, and this one just happens to have a solar eclipse coming with it, and it's been named the Ring of Fire. It is in Gemini. It's all about illuminating your destiny. So all the questions that you've been asking while you've been in your cocoon, little butterfly, ready to bust out and show the world all your beautiful colors, illuminating your destiny. This is a highly rare placement, okay? So illuminating your destiny, showing you your fate, showing you where you really want to go, showing you everything that you've been asking to see. Because you just want to see it, right? Like you don't want to keep like doing the work and not seeing like where we're really going with this. You get glimpses and little pieces, and you get little feelings like, man, you ever catch a vibe where it feel like you're just in a whole different place, and it's like you just you just tapped into your higher self for just about a good 25 seconds. Like, man, where was I just at? You know what I'm saying? You want to feel that all the time. You want to see the full picture, right? Well, so under this placement, because it is linked with the Mercury retrograde as well, that's what makes it a rare placement. It's extremely intense. So you probably feel tired, okay? Because we only human, right? You only have so much in you. You probably feeling real tired and real lethargic under this placement. It is really intense. It is pulling on a lot of energy because, you know, it's all about releasing what you thought. Now, releasing people that we love is hard, but releasing things that we think is even harder. How do you stop yourself from like thinking about certain things? I mean, you can, but you can't throw the thought away as soon as it comes to your mind. That's about the best advice I could give you when it comes to like, you know, the mental releases, because that be a lot of times, a lot of people are not bound to other people. A lot of people are not bound to other people's beliefs. A lot of people don't give a fuck, but guess what? They still in a mental prison, because somewhere up here they are locked up because they haven't moved forward. You don't see any progress. You don't see them wanting to attain any progress. They're in a mental prison. And, it could be mental illness, it could be trauma, it could be, repression, or any of those things that will cause us, to internalize and only live in our heads, because that's where it starts at. It starts when we start escaping into our mind and not knowing when to come back out. That's why meditation is so key. Meditation is extremely key, because you need to be able to decipher for what is telling you to go which way. Okay. So, it's like your core personality and your shadow personality are forced to face off with themselves, okay? Because it's basically, the sun and the moon passing one another. So the full moon eclipse was in Sagittarius, and it asked you, where do you really want to go with this thing, okay? Because Sagittarius is all about, travel and journey, seeking out higher learning, seeking out more and more information and whatnot. So the question with the new moon, because the new moon is all about fresh start, this is the question with the new moon is, where do you want to start? Solar eclipse, ego is shadow, and conscious self made sleep. And you get to level up, okay? So it's like, this is why you're feeling this tiredness, because it's just trying to get you to let go of what's going on in your reality so you can receive new downloads of what to do next, new ideas, a fresh and creative vision, okay? So it's asking you, what do you believe to be true? What do you believe to be true? What do you believe in? What do you think, what is it what beliefs do you hold dear? What are things that you know and that you stand on, okay? Because if you don't stand on anything, you what? So, not your mom, not your dad, not your friends, your co-workers, family, celebrities, but you. What do you believe to be true? Okay, so it's time for an awakening. It's time to be still and listen. It's time to meditate, and it's time to cleanse, okay? You are going to take in so much, especially through this retrograde. You're taking in so much because of the inner child work. You're taking in so much because of the shadow work. You have to be able to wash those things off of you as well, cleansing your energy, making sure that you are meditating so you can ground yourself and recenter back into a place of clarity and a place of balance, okay? Some of you, and this was one of the things that I received last night, are dealing with heavy trauma, and you're trying to purge up emotional garbage. All of the things that you have allowed people to shove down your throat about how they feel, just taking in how they feel, where they justify their wrongdoings and all of this other stuff. So it's time to stop looking for the guru and start studying yourself, start researching and knowing things for yourself, and being more reliant on knowledge of self, knowing who you are, It's not taking anything away from the Most High, our Creator, but it's all about knowing who you are. That's what all this is for. Do you want to come out of all of this that you're going through just to still be in the middle of an identity crisis? I didn't think you did. So become the guru of your life. Always pull information from other sources so your perspective on the things of life don't become so personal. And that's what I was talking about before, where people see your situation through their eyes. So the advice that they give you might not work for you. So that's why you need to just be able to stand on something. So when you get ready to make a decision, you make it based from a place where something that you are rooted in. So if it goes left, ain't nobody to blame but you, okay? The universe is constantly working. It's our destiny to align God's universe with the God in us, okay? So now let's get a little deeper and talk about the vulnerability and the confusion and the deception that is coming with this solar eclipse season passing, because it started with the lunar eclipse with all of these behaviors being exposed, and now that they have been exposed, you know what I'm saying, the energy has gotten really, really busy because of this Mercury retrograde in Gemini, and you may be a little bit distracted, but do not get so distracted that you let people get over on you, because you know you're just tired, you don't want to deal with it, it's just easier for you to let it go. None of that. Take that shit head on and deal with it, okay? And don't let nobody just get over on you emotionally, and that's that emotional garbage that you purging up because you didn't transfer that energy back. Somebody did something to you, and I'm not saying get revenge, but you know, we have to start letting people know where they're wrong, and I'm going to keep saying it because they're going to go out and they're going to wrong somebody else. And not only are they going to wrong somebody else, you never dealt with the emotional hurt from your wrong, so you swallowed it. So now when it's time for you to get ready to elevate, you got all of this emotional garbage, that these steps that you have to go through now to get rid of all of the feelings and crap that somebody else put on your shoulders, okay? So, if someone shows you them, take them at face value. You know, what Mama Maya say, you know, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Yes, that is true. Okay, quit trying to see. It's different trying to see the good in people and overlooking the flaw in people in order for you to be in your safety zone. Because now you're just as guilty as the person that you're calling toxic, because that's what eventually is going to happen, right? Eventually, it's not, the facade is going to wear off and you're not going to be able to deal with it anymore, because we all have to live in truth. And once the facade wears off and you realize that this is not the person that you were trying to make them be, but they were exactly who they are, you know. So if you just start taking people at face value, then you won't have that issue. You know what I'm saying? You know, I know you want to love on people and you want people to be good and all of that stuff, but it just is what it is. Everybody's not for you. Some people shouldn't be for anybody, but some people just for themselves. So, you know, you figure out where you fall in line and you live in that truth. Lying, backstabbing, cheating, all of that, okay? The eclipse is exposing all of these different things that's going on, because, you know, it is not meant for us to always be in the darkness. Now, sometimes we have to go into the darkness. You know, you go in, you do your shadow work, you pull that thing out and, you know, uproot everything, you know, uproot anything that's, you know, hurting you or that you have found, because, you know, sometimes you go back and forth, you find a little bit, deal with that, you go back like, damn, I got, now is this, you know, you go back, find a little bit, dig it out, until eventually you're just transparent, because that's what the light does. The light makes you transparent. Okay, when you're really living in the light and you living in the truth, you become transparent. You know, there's nothing that anybody can say to you about your past. Nobody can say to you about your present, with what state you in. Nobody can say to your future that's going to affect you or bother you. Because, you know, a lot of us ended up in the situation that we in because when we were younger, people told us we weren't going to be shit. So we just became overwhelmed with becoming overachievers. And it worked for some, but it created a trauma still in most, you know? So, don't get finessed in these streets. Don't let nobody get you in a situation that can ruin you or your reputation, because we exposed right now. We are very vulnerable right now. We're very vulnerable spiritually, and we're very vulnerable to being exposed. So if you got anything in the shadows, anything that is lurking that you need to deal with, go ahead and deal with it. Quit wasting time, you know? Cleanse your space, cleanse your home, and cleanse your energy. And a new glow is what we shall attain if we press past the confusion and voices of other people and listen to our own intuition. Okay? Okay. So, with the solar eclipse, I just want you, in all these other placements that I said, it's all supporting what you're going to do now with these next 3 days that you have this energy of manifesting. I want you to go back. I want you to look at the shadow work, look at the inner child work, look at you know, the things that you are trying to manifest, your future plans and goals. And I want you to really meditate on it, okay? Meditate, please. Meditate. You know, it's going to be hard to put it's going to be hard. You know, it's going to be hard to push past all the confusion and craziness of, you know, the eclipse and Mercury retrograde in Gemini is creating a cloudiness, and we're tired because of all of the things that are pulling on us right now. But push through, you know, that's all I can say. And that's all I'm gonna say. And I sat up here and smacked all through this video in y'all ear. And I appreciate y'all for letting me do it. But I gotta go to bed now. Bye.